Madam
Done by
President,
Eric
Secretary wants to hold on to.
Eric.
Okay, I want.
Good morning, everyone. Donette, you wanted to say something?
No, I was about to tell her to let me start the recording before she starts, but that's fine. We've started.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Let us reverently bow for prayer. Let us pray. O God and giver of all good, we thank thee for our daily food. May Rotary friends and Rotary ways help us to serve thee all our days. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. The loyal coach, Rotarian Donnie.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Bahamas.
To the
To the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Thank you, Rotarian Donnie. Visiting Rotarians, Secretary Donette.
Thank you, President Francis. We are very pleased and grateful that we have persons visiting with us, given that our meeting is so early. And so I want to start with our visiting Rotarians. We have PP Kim. PP Kim probably has an alarm that wakes her up for our meetings every Thursday morning. We're always happy to have you. That's PP all the way from the Turks and Caicos Islands. Welcome, PP.
Thank you.
PP Valerie, who is also with us, and we know this is one of her favorite clubs to be. Welcome, PP Valerie Dean.
Pleasant good morning, everybody.
Good morning. We have President Darren visiting all the way from the UK.
Good morning, everyone. Great to be here.
And President Darren's meeting is at 2 o'clock our time today. So if you can join in, I'll send you the link later for those who want to visit a club. If you want to travel to London and get there by midday or by 2 o'clock today, then I can have that arranged. Your ticket, your passport, your airfare, everything will be in the package. Also visiting with us is our Rotaract International Service Chair, Leslie Gibson. Welcome, Leslie.
Morning. Thanks so much.
President Latoya, our Rotary partner from the Rotaract Club of Nassau Sunset. Welcome, President Latoya. We also have...
Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
Good morning. We also have Rotarian Delissa visiting with us. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
And Delissa seems to love our coffee meeting.
Past President Delissa.
Past President Delissa. Yes, I think that's it. Are there any guests of Rotarians? I just want to also welcome warmly our guest speaker, Minister Honorable Jeff Lloyd, who will be our speaker this morning. We welcome you, sir.
My great honor and pleasure. Thank you very much.
We understand that you went to the Hilton. Happy to see that you would have joined us in color. And I'm sure that will happen sometime in the future, but right now we're meeting on Zoom and we're happy to have you. And so then that leaves me to welcome all our Rotarians who are always here with us, and we trust that you'll enjoy this meeting. Welcome to Literacy Month, which is our theme for September, and we have the littiest literature chair in the universe in the form of Janelle, and I'm sure she'll share with us later all the great things we have in store. So Rotarians, grab your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy this 1 hour of time together. Thank you so much for being here. Back to you, President.
Thank you, Secretary Donette. And now we'll ask Rotarians to welcome and introduce their guests, please.
Sharon. Hola, buenos dias. Well, I'll call you today if that issue you're having. All right, take care. Meow, meow.
Morning, Dino.
Morning, morning. How you do?
Hey,
Morning, everybody.
thank you.
Kimmy.
And now we'll ask Sergeant at Arms, Rotarian Palacios, to give
Define
us
Dino.
fines, jokes,
You want me to find Dino?
birthdays, and anniversaries.
I can see me. You can.
Yes, I can
You,
see
you
you.
jumping, you trying to play smart with me, man. Just because the minister on, you want him to know that you want to believe that you smart.
Good morning, Minister.
Just leave $5 for trying to jump smart on me, man.
Jeez.
Okay. We have the minister on this morning. Anybody lives in the minister's constituency? Anybody? Okay, you got it. Anybody lives in an adjoining constituency? That's you, Donette. Put in $2 for that, please.
I do. I didn't know that.
You
Wait,
didn't.
Donette, if you lived in
so.
an adjoining constituency,
To
should I
South
keep
Beach.
quiet?
Yeah, because
you're-
you need to tell me because you
Is it-
probably know the lay of the land better than I do.
Is it the truth?
I don't know. I don't know that.
No, Donette, I thought it was you who said that you lived in an adjoining constituency. If it
No,
wasn't you, then
It
fine.
was Janelle, if I may
Chanel.
report.
Okay, well, put it down for $2, please.
But I'll still pay my $2 if Dino pays his $2 because he's not answering.
Dino 5. Mouth hard.
I got to turn my camera off when I join these meetings, man. Father P.
Anybody who wasn't here last week, $2, please. And Turks and Caicos Islands, we are so glad to have you. Please put in $2 in your club the next time you attend by Zoom or whatever. You just tell them we're trying to make a firm connection between the Turks Island and the Bahamas. So we find you and you can give it to your club. And Darren.
That will be today. Thank you. I'll do that.
And Darren, all the way from UK, we are so glad to have you. I just finished speaking by WhatsApp to our High Commissioner there. And so in order to let you know how much we appreciate your presence, please put in 2 quids in your next meeting, please.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem.
No problem. You sound like you accepted that with no problem. I'm tempted to make it 3, but we'll leave it 2. Okay, Rotary is all about helping people. And the next frame, before I put on the frame, which I'd like you to read, please. Just want to encourage people in the literacy program. The country needs it tremendously. And of course, we all have to do our part. Put on the frame, please. But before that, all those without pins, please put on. All those who are late, please come up. Please come up. Those who are late, you know who you are. And even if you join a little later on, even if you're not, I guess I can't talk to you if you're not on now. But for just, Madam Secretary, you could just reiterate at the end of the meeting, if you came in late, you owe us some money. Please put up the frame as we talk about helping one another. This is an inspirational one this morning.
I'm trying, I'm letting in people. Father P, I'm gonna have to show you how to share your screen because
yeah, okay.
Let me see if I can get it up.
And we have to say a special prayer for the minister and his people, of course, as they attempt to open up schools. These are some extremely perilous times, and we all have to do our part in assisting in the process.
Okay, there you go.
With the birthdays, all those who are celebrating their birthdays, please put in your usual money. And anniversaries in particular, I think I saw Pretano this week.
I'm going to display that in a minute, but I have your screen up.
Okay, let us go. Let us ride. And thank you all. Have a great day.
And now we'll have announcements.
Where's my screen?
Oh, I did show that screen already, and you were done, so I thought you were done.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm now sharing the birthdays and anniversaries.
Okay, great.
So
Sergeant, you can find the president $2 for having the privilege of 2 cabinet ministers in our meeting this morning.
Okay.
What?
Charge the president for the honor of having a cabinet minister this morning, and charge
2 cabinet ministers.
Charge Felix $5 for trying to tell me just because he's from Inagua. He think he could still push me around for telling me how to run my meeting. Give me $5, please, Felix.
I'll remember that.
Now, don't say take it from what I owe you, because what I owe you, that was a long time ago. There it is, all the birthdays there.
Yes, so Jackie Longley, August 3rd, Melanie Spence Cartwright, August 13th, Errol Bodie, August 20th, Barry Smith, 21st of August, Barrett Miller, 22nd, and Paterno, he rounded off the month on August 29th.
Oh.
We had spouses' birthday, Eric and Camille, August 17th.
Okay, let them put in $5, please, for their spouses.
We have anniversaries. We have Cephia and D'Angelo Moss. They've celebrated their 9th anniversary on August 18, 2020. They got married on 18th of August, 2012. And PP Leroy and John.
That's 8 years.
Yeah, no, it's actually 9.
2012?
Oh, I think they're going into their 9th year.
We need a numeracy month.
We wish, no, well, she confirmed with me that it's 9. So I think I think that's what we had.
2011, okay, no problem.
Then we have Leroy and Joan, that's 33 years. And we have Rotary Anniversary, Devaldo and Danny Bethel. Okay, back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Secretary Donnet. And now we'll have announcements by our chairpersons and directors. Any announcements this morning?
Hi, good morning, Sunrise. Good morning, guests. Good morning, Minister Lloyd. Welcome to the Lithiest Club, not only in the district, but in the world. So Sunrise, as you already know, this is the Lithiest month, and we have a wide array of exciting activities planned. Every Wednesday is Wild Wednesday, where we feature a wild reader. Our first highlight was past Assistant Governor Mario. Saturday is Supertastic Saturdays, where we feature our super readers. We're so excited to be doing that. We have a speech competition coming up. We have a poem competition coming up. We have an essay competition coming up in partnership with Southeast Nassau. And you've seen the flyer yesterday. We're launching our online reading cafe with the Rotary Club of Nassau and Southeast Nassau. This weekend, we have a Mentee Mentor workshop headed by our director, Melanie. And next week, Saturday, we have a book writing workshop for our super readers. So they're going to be participating in the district storybook project, Butterfly Storybook Project. And so we want them to be prepared. And so we have authors from all over the US who's going to be sharing. I'm just going to stop right there because it's just so much to read, right? Please pay attention to your calendars. Please look out for the flyers. And as best as you can support us, please support us. And we look forward to seeing you at one of the events. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have an announcement, President. We, on the 20th of this month, the 20th of September, we will be having our first fundraiser, which will be a play. It's a virtual play, virtual theater production. And we'll be having the play called Jamaica Farewell. It's $25 for general admission. If you have a business that you'd like to promote, then it's $75. And we will have your company logo or your flyer displayed on our playbill. If you want to participate in the raffle, then it's $50, and we'll be having some great raffle prizes. So please go on Club Runner or on Facebook, click on the link and register for the event. After you've registered, an invoice will be sent to you closer to the date of the event. Guys, this is an exciting play. It's an award-winning play that has been earmarked for a movie, and you will see it's a one-man play. So it's one person playing all 20 roles, and believe me, it's engaging, it's exciting, it's funny, and it's something that all Caribbean people can relate to, even though it's called Jamaica Farewell, only because the playwright is a Jamaican. But it is a fabulous play, and I look forward to your support. Register your friends, your family, share the link. I've been getting a lot of calls from members of other clubs who want to participate. One person said he's going to make it a date and invite his date to the play. So that will be interesting. So please save the date, September 20th, it's a Sunday, and it will be at 5 p.m. Also, I want to just use the opportunity, since I have the floor, to welcome our own Minister Ellsworth, Rotarian Ellsworth, as we call you. Welcome to the meeting. We're indeed happy to see you, and your colleague minister is here and will be the guest speaker. So this should be very interesting for you as well. So thanks again. If you joined after and I missed you, welcome to the meeting and do enjoy. Back to you, President Francis.
Thank you, Secretary Donette. And now I'd like to especially welcome our guest speaker this morning, Minister Jeff Lloyd, to our first meeting for the Literacy Month. And so welcome to all of our special guests this morning. As Mr. Lloyd speaks to us today on the way forward, education in a COVID environment, I will now invite Rotarian Leah Callum to do the honors.
Good morning, fellow Rotarians and guests. So at the request of our speaker, I've been asked to do a very, very brief introduction, and I will be obedient because I do not want to get fined this morning. So I do believe that this may be the shortest introduction that you'll ever hear. And so please, I ask everyone to join me in welcoming our guest speaker, who is no stranger to us, of course, the Honorable Jeffrey L. Lloyd, our Minister of Education and Member of Parliament of the South Beach constituency. Welcome, Minister Lloyd.
And thank you so much. Pleasant to be. I don't think I've ever been at the Sunrise Club. I'm grateful for the invitation, and it's a joy. I was given the information to present myself at the mezzanine level of the British Colonial Hilton at 6:45, so I was there. And the sign says it's closed temporarily, so I don't know where you all were meeting. Happily, I have Carla's number, and I got the information. So it's really a joy and a pleasure, and it's a great joy to join with my minister colleague, the Honorable Ellsworth, and I see my team member, Ms. Poitier, who is a part of us this morning. I also see my team member, Dr. Robertson, who is here. It's really a great privilege. Dr. Robertson and his team is celebrating a milestone for having received a very distinguished award for leadership The company, the organization escapes me at the moment, but it is a signature identification and endorsement for the great work that he and his team at the Bahamas Technical Vocational Institute is doing. And I'm sure he can share with the club in his My Job talks and sometime as to what is happening. But I think it is important for us to know that as a part of the Sustainable Development Goals number 4 and our own draft National Development Plan number 6, that we have committed ourselves in the Bahamas to expand the access for tertiary education at the technical level. And Dr. Robertson, in his time at BTVI, has been phenomenal, because today, as you would all know, the industry, the world, in fact, demands what we call certification. It's not just a matter of achieving a diploma or a degree in a particular subject area, but certification, which is a verification that you have a certain skill level. And these certifications come from internationally recognized regulatory agencies and bodies. And I am happy to report to you that when Dr. Robertson arrived on the campus of BTVI, less than 20% of the students completing a given course received a certification. Today, that is well over 80% in his just very short 3-4 years on the campus. And by the end of this year, we will have a 100% attainment rate for all students who complete courses and will be certified. So it's really a privilege and a joy this morning to share with you. You know, when we talk about education in the new COVID environment, I think we can stop pretty much at the word virtual, because fundamentally this is what it is about. If we are in the Bahamas, as the rest of the world, are required to observe and maintain and comply with the regulatory standards and requirements and prescriptions, such as maintaining X number of feet, and it goes between 3 and 6, so let's say 6 feet, must, of course, avoid crowds of more than X number. Now it is 10. If we are to maintain a certain level of prophylactics across our faces in terms of shields and masks and so on, we are going to probably remain for the foreseeable future, if not forever, in some form of virtual learning. For us in the Bahamas, virtual learning became a necessity because, as you would know, each year the Ministry of Education suffers a challenge in supplying necessary teachers across our system, in particular in areas of specialty, maths and science and so on. And we have confirmed and endorsed and accepted the mandate from the United Nations that we would include and make sure that every Bahamian receives education to the same degree and extent as any other Bahamian. It's called equitable. Well, unfortunately, for many years, students, particularly in the outlying areas of our country, as you would know, Michael, the Inaguas and the Crooked Island, Long Key, Aucklands, and in other parts like South Andros and elsewhere, would not have benefited from that quality education because simply we were not able to provide a teacher, especially again in the areas of maths and science and so on. It's kind of difficult for you to attract a teacher of that qualification into in a stair hardship area, an Aucklands or a South Andros. And so many of these students for years have not had the benefit of instructions in those subjects and therefore could not take a BGCSE exam in those subjects, which of course would have denied them the opportunity to successfully receive a scholarship from the government or even sometimes attend tertiary institutions. So virtual learning became a necessity for us, which thankfully we embarked on 2 days ago, 1 year ago, September the 1st. Just as we got out of the gate with some 580 students, we unfortunately had to confront a very unwelcomed guest in the person of Dorian. And that led us, therefore, to have to expand virtually overnight our virtual offering from 500 plus to over 1,700 in the across the system, the virtual school, which we started last year, September the 1st. Well, as you already know now, by now, we of course didn't get out of the gate of that easily. By that time, as the beginning of March, middle of March, we had to ramp up the virtual school from some 1,720 or so to 50,000 overnight, literally. You can imagine the challenge. If you're going in these islands where you have had no internet in some instances or unreliable internet service, and you're seeking to provide a virtual online distance learning for these students in the remote areas, you've got a major challenge. And even if you were able to provide the internet service, then you had the challenge of devices. So we were pretty much challenged in a difficult and significant way coming into this COVID environment, and remain so challenged for some time during this past experience. This COVID is obviously not going to be going anywhere. You hear people talk about mitigating the experience of COVID. Of course, everybody in the world now is waiting on a vaccine, and even if one becomes available, it's a swath of the population of the world who wants to see how it works on somebody else before they themselves try it. So in that circumstance, we right now in the Bahamas decided that in addition to the fact that we have to get our cabling and fiber optic and internet capability assured across the system, and we also have to ensure that we would be able to provide a device, especially for those who absolutely positively need it. And for us, that calculation is somewhere between 10 and 15, if not more, thousands of students, particularly those who are deprived socioeconomically, who are on the lunch voucher program and others. We had to decide that we want to be sure that when we do start school, which was previously scheduled for 2 weeks from now, 21st of September, that everybody would have a chance at an inclusive and an equitable and quality education. So the date, October the 5th. We, of course, ran into another problem. No problem in putting the order in for these devices. And of course, we have identified the one that works best for us. It's usually available through one of our partners alive. The problem is the world is gone virtual. And I'm not just talking about educational institutions. As you know, the University of the Bahamas is virtual. My daughter goes there. BTVI is going to be significantly virtual, except where it's necessary for there to be hands-on training in laboratories and so on. But the world is virtual. And again, not only educationally, but more and more people are working from home. And that necessitates virtual, devices, So we have got a challenge in now securing the devices, because the orders for these various manufacturers now, one manufacturer told us that he has a period of about 3 months before our order might possibly be filled if we placed an order today. So this, obviously we're going to catch up and things are going to settle down and everybody's going to be back to what the new normal or the new reality will be. But for the moment, this virtual environment for our country, it's going to still be a little bit of a growing pain. It's going to require some adjustments. Many, many teachers will be trained by BTVI under the auspices, direction, and the vision and the leadership of Dr. Robertson and his team, what we call nano courses. They are going to learn all the way from the introduction to the computer, all the way to online learning and teaching, which again is a required skill in the 21st century. There are many, many, many parents who simply feel ill-equipped to assist their children. They too are going to have the benefit of training and support by the Ministry of Education. And I'm grateful to Dr. Robertson for again making available these many, many, many nano courses. And I say nano because these are not 2-year courses. They can be as short as 2 weeks. They can be as long as 12 weeks. The idea is to get our people re-equipped, get our people skilled as quickly as possible, as proficiently as possible, to negotiate this new environment called the COVID reality, the virtual world that we now live in. In addition to that, of course, we also have to assure the availability of internet service at an affordable price, which for many persons in this day and time is just simply not possible. I mean, you all of us here on this this virtual meeting know that when you talk about a data package, $25, $35, $40 per month, that's $500 for a family that may not necessarily have that ability at their home. So for us in the Ministry of Education, we are seeking to ensure that all of our campuses are smart campuses, 100% Wi-Fi free. All of our libraries are smart libraries, 100% Wi-Fi free. That most of our parks are Wi-Fi free, enable these students who do not have it in their homes or who cannot afford it otherwise to be able to access it. We are this week having a meeting with the many different churches through the Bahamas Christian Council and inviting them to share some of their available spaces with their members who have children and the members of their community, so that they too can be a part of this resource in providing internet capability for our students. Because again, you have school that is not face-to-face, which is the ideal model. Somebody is going to have to supervise these children, many of whom are going to be unsupervised because parents, as the economy opens more and more, will be going back to work. You will expect soon to see Bahamas starting up. You will soon see Atlantis starting up. And more of the businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, are going to be given the authority to open up through the competent authority. So my message to Rotary this morning is this is a community effort. You have and always done a phenomenal job. I was just, when I listened to President, or I think Father Palacios, talking about anniversary, I was scratching my head to see if I could remember my Rotary anniversary. I think now I am at year 32, having joined the City Club. We call it then the City Club. The City Club, and myself being past president, Paul Harris Fellow, so on and so forth. But we have been in the business, for Rotarians and others, in the business of offering service to our community. And again, we invite you to see how you may assist the society in this time of, again, new challenge. I mean, it's also a kind of great opportunity. And working with your respective organizations, you are business leaders. Parents are concerned about their children, especially the younger ones. Maybe you can engage a certain flexibility in your work schedule so that they can be available for supervising their children. You know, many of them have children, 2 and 3. One is in grade 9, another is in grade 3, and maybe somebody is in preschool, 3 different levels of supervision, essentially. And so on. So it's really, it's an interesting time. I look at it more as a time of opportunity, of revolution. Within a month, we are going to be installing our EMIS, Educational Management Information System, which I think is probably the most revolutionary piece of software that will ever be implemented in education in the Bahamas across the system. This will enable our teachers and students and parents and all stakeholders to participate virtually from anywhere in the world in the education enterprise, whether it's by learning or by teaching, by following up on our children, or following up with the teachers on lessons, being able to do assignments and have those completed and responded to in a timely fashion. And on top of that will be a learning management system. That's the one that has all of the courses, so that again, students would have the ability to take courses at their leisure, certainly to review those courses. Again, if there's necessity to do so, teachers can become a part of an entrepreneurial verve where they could offer tutorials, additional courses, evening, afternoon, weekends, and so on. This also would enable our students and parents to access platforms across the globe, libraries across the globe, so that they can enhance their respective skills in particular subjects, whether it's a science and so on, or pursue distinctive areas of interests, whether it's music or art or so on and so forth. So yes, it's somewhat difficult and challenging, obviously a little bit unnerving for many people, but I really want us to look at this as a great and grand opportunity, and we are pushed into an experience, a living experience that probably would have taken us another couple of years, if not longer, to get to. COVID has now forced this virtual, which has become a part of the feature of education delivery across the globe. COVID has forced us to accelerate whatever implementation plans that we would have had and get up to speed in a hurry and get to the top of the list, as it were, for the benefit of our students. So I think that if I put it down in one word, the new COVID environment is virtual. And I thank you all so much this morning, and happy to share any other concerns or answer questions if you wish.
Thank you, Minister Lloyd. The floor is now open. You may ask your questions. Kindly put your questions in the chat if need be.
Okay, there's a question from PAG Mario. How can students who can't afford a tablet apply for one, and what measures are being taken to ensure that Family Island students are not disadvantaged?
An excellent question. We have 5,000 plus students who are on what we call our lunch voucher program. These are students who would have been vetted by the Department of Ministry of Social Services as having not achieved the minimum standards of socioeconomic living. They would probably also be beneficiaries of uniforms, so on and so forth. We have immediately identified those, let's call it 6,000 students who will receive from the Ministry of Education a tablet, or let's use the term device. It could be a tablet, it could be a laptop. Will be receiving a device. So that's sure. There are many, many other students whose families, again, because of COVID, Dorian, and so on, are also in socioeconomic strait. Those students we are inviting to go and register with the Department of Social Services to be vetted by them so that we could really clarify and ventilate truly those who need versus those who just simply want. And again, the ministry will seek to afford for them. Many of these students are in the Family Islands. And our intent, and I said earlier, our intent, of course, we are talking about equitable and quality education. Our intent is that some of the first beneficiaries of this opportunity by the ministry will be our Family Island students first, because if we're talking about economically deprived environments, jurisdictions, locations, I mean, you're looking at the Family Islands: Auckland's Crooked Island, Beguana, Long Key, Rum Key, South Andros, South Eleuthera. These are seriously deprived, very, very hardship areas, and they are certainly going to be among the priorities for the distribution of tablets. I'm also glad to tell you this morning that there are many corporate citizens and others, parents and families who have offered, who have come to the table and say, listen, we would like to donate 20, like 50, like to donate 100 tablets, devices. And we are grateful for that. Links yesterday provided ministry with 25 tablets. Many others, happy for Diane Phillips and her team who are working to secure tablets. And we will take those and make them available primarily and in the first instance to our Family Island students. That's a very good question.
Okay.
And I may also say, President Francis, that we have worked out with our partners, Alive in particular, a seriously discounted price for parents to receive a device from the Alive store. Devices that would be 50 to 75% discounted just for parents of students who are in our school system.
Thank you, Minister Lloyd.
Well, you're welcome.
Are there any other questions for the minister?
Hi, sorry. President Francis, can you hear? Can I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Minister Lloyd. So just for clarity here, so this is Kemi Jones here from Office of the Prime Minister. Just for clarity for us in Rotary, because there have been requests coming in for donations of devices, and a few other NGOs have also been talking about willing to support devices. So first question for clarity, the devices you're talking about, are those personally belonging to the students, or similar to what happened at Willett Patton? Will the devices remain at the school a part of Ministry of Education's asset pool?
That's an excellent question, Mr. Jones. And I'll be honest with you, we have still not yet worked that out. There is a thinking that it should be loaned. The student signs for it, parent signs for it, and the device is to be returned.
Right.
There's another thinking that the device should remain on the campus and the students have access to those devices. The problem with that second part is there is no campus attendance, then what does the student do? And the other thing that we thought about with the loaning part of it, as you know, there will be households that lose it or damage it or whatever. So we're working that portion out. Thank God we have until maybe September the 23rd to get that down pat as to what we intend to do in that respect. But an announcement will be made very clearly. But certainly, I think there has to be an investment of responsibility on the part of the student and the parent about these devices. They are coming with the generosity of the Bahamian people through the Ministry of Education or a non-governmental organization or a service club like us. So you got to have some investment in it. You have to take care of it. You have to be responsible for it because, you know, these are not cheap. They're not expensive, but they're certainly not cheap.
Sorry, and secondly, to add to that, well, I mean, I'm sure, as you indicated right now, I guess you haven't thought through the exact mechanism as yet, but once the mechanism is thought through for Rotary as well as for any other civic and NGOs who want to donate, we would appreciate if you would circle back and let us know what the vehicle is, whether that's through social services or directly to education, just so we can have proper information.
Through education, Mr. Jones, through education and through our technology department, who is Deputy Director is Miss Poitier is here. She's the Deputy Director for Curriculum, but the Deputy Director for Technology is Mr. Anderson. Through that department, you notify us, Permanent Secretary and or myself. We have an interest, and we will arrange it and secure it and make sure that it is distributed to our students. Absolutely. Let me very quickly say something else, because this has been in the news media quite often now these past couple of days. I said in my presentation that schools open October the 5th for public and private schools. Let me be clear about this and, in a sense, amended. Yes, schools opening, public schools on October the 5th. Private schools can open at any time that they wish. They can open along any of the modalities, whether it's face-to-face, blended, or virtual, they wish, as long as they comply with the Ministry of Health's prescriptions. So I will not call names, but some of us know already that there are a number of private schools are already operating. In one instance on the island of New Providence, operating fully face-to-face. Because of the size of their student population and the size of their campus, they can do that. And they're happy to do so, and they have started that on Monday. There's a school in the Family Islands that has been open now for 2 weeks. Again, because the size of their population and the size of their campus, they can go face-to-face. So a school can determine, private school can determine, you know, which way they want to operate, and depending on what their circumstances are, they will be allowed. The same thing goes for the public school. There will be schools, because of the size of the population of the campus, that can go face-to-face. Many of those schools in the Family Islands can already do that. One or two, so here in New Providence or even Grand Bahama can do it. But it is according to that particular school, and it must be in compliance with the Ministry of Health's prescriptions. Social distance, this, and this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Minister.
There's another question.
Yes, please.
And the first,
Mr. Minister, about how much does average device cost?
$200.
Okay, good. In case I say, you know, go to somebody, say, I want you to donate one. That's an indication. Thank you, man, and all the best, eh?
I appreciate it, Father.
We have some more questions for you, Minister. The question is, how or what will happen to those teachers who might have to end up in quarantine? Would there be enough teachers to fill in?
Absolutely, and thank you very much. Smart question. And here's what options are being available to our teachers. We would require all of our teachers October the 5th to be on campus. There will be the devices. They can be in their classrooms. No students will be before them. They will not have to worry about social distance. There will be miles between them and the other teacher on campus. But a teacher may decide that it wants to be at home for any number of reasons. No problem. Simply make a request of your principal and have the arrangement, and you have no difficulty. And there are any number of reasons why a teacher may decide that they need to be at home. They have their own children, or there might be a comorbidity, or so on and so forth. Not a problem. Again, virtual. So you could be on your boat, you could be in wherever, as long as you are able to provide the instructions, the time that you need to, the same way that you would come to school, be on the campus, sign in. The education management information system will enable you to do just that and to know that our supervisors would know precisely what is going on.
Thank you for that answer. Another question, how has the new virtual learning impacted our BJC and the BGCSE examinations?
Has not, except the COVID environment has caused us to, delay the start of the exam to July 13th. And because of the spike, it had to be delayed again. The exam starts this morning at 9 o'clock and runs until Friday, October the 2nd, 3 weeks. All right. So it's the COVID environment that really has impacted the examination more than the virtual environment. At this time, we are not able to take the exams virtually. That's being worked on by the Cambridge folks out of England, but until such time, we still have to do it face-to-face. And as we did during July, when the exams were being administered, there will again be an observances of all of the requirements, all of the protocols, and compliance with all of the prescriptions by the Ministry of Health, yes.
Okay, thank you for that answer. There's also another question. Will private independent schools receive funding from the ministry as parents cannot pay fees? If unemployed parents need funding, who do they contact?
Well, that's another very good question. Boy, you all are pretty good this morning. You all should have your own radio show. Let me just say this, all right? The Ministry of Education provides education for its Bahamian citizens. If a citizen or resident decides that it wants to go to a private school, then that's a private arrangement. If that citizen is unable to negotiate the requirements, financial requirements of that institution, then please speak to that institution. There are many institutions who are benefiting from what we call government grant and aid subventions. One of the requirements for this subvention, one of it is that you work with those parents in this particular environment who have been unfortunately affected by loss of employment or underemployment. That's one of the requirements. But again, these institutions have their own cost structure. They have to employ teachers and so on and so forth. Many of you would remember in the Anglican Church what happened just recently in terms of having to lay off maybe or even reduce pay. So the question is, if you are in a private environment, you're always welcome to come and bring your child to this public school. We do have this space. But if you choose to remain in the private environment, then we invite you to please contact the school, sit down with the administration of that school. I'm not working, or I am working, but I'm only able to pay X and Y and so on. Then please work with that particular school. But in terms of who do they get funding from, you're making a choice. You're making a choice to have your child in a private school. So I'm sure somewhere you would have secured funding or would have made arrangements for funding. I'll give you a very, very personal example. My daughter, who's now at the University of the Bahamas, wanted to go off to school. University of the Bahamas is free. She thought that it would be best to go off to school. I thought it'd be best for you to go to the University of the Bahamas. Why? Because it's free. Free tuition, that is. You know where she is today. University of the Bahamas.
Thank you, Minister. Another question. Tell us more about sanitizing stations to be installed at the schools when face-to-face.
Copiously and across the system. We have the sanitization. Whenever students go back to school, we will have upgraded sanitizing circumstances at the school, significantly so. We will observe all of the necessary protocols for students and others coming on the campus, temperature check, making sure that they're properly sanitized, they have their face masks and so on. There will be special arrangements for students. They will be going all in one direction on a particular corridor, maintaining social distancing, so on and so forth. There might be the need for additional checks during the day. We have protocols set up that if a child has an elevated temperature, there is a particular set of instructions as to what happens with that particular child. There's a second temperature check within a certain period of time. If that temperature remains elevated, there are protocols as to exactly who the parent is to be, the parents is to be contacted, the health authorities to be contacted. If there's a nurse on the campus, the nurse has the set of protocols which are required. That not only goes for the child, but anybody else who enters the campus, teacher, educator, and support staff. So all of those things under the guidance of the Ministry of Health, we have already worked out perfectly. And all of our environmental health requirements in terms of sanitization, the training of our custodial staff, enough sanitizations, hand washing facilities, and so on and so forth. Yes, all of that is now being put in place.
Thank you, Minister. We're really working you this morning. I saw the hand of Rotarian Shanova Abrams. Shanova, would you like to ask your question?
Sure, good morning. There were students that applied for scholarship funding to the University of the Bahamas, and they weren't given the scholarships because they did not have the required 5 PGCSEs. What happened to those students in that instance?
They have not been accepted into the university. All Bahamian students, and I emphasize Bahamian, not residents, all Bahamian students who are accepted in the University of the Bahamas automatically receives free tuition. So the first thing is you have to be accepted. And again, I use a personal example. For instance, one of my relatives, just like this particular situation, did not qualify for acceptance because didn't have the 5 GCSE or did not have passing grades in the math or the English. They would go into a summer program, an enrichment program to qualify for acceptance. But once accepted, automatic free tuition. Once accepted into the University of the Bahamas, not the pre-program, not the enrichment program, but once accepted into the University of the Bahamas, automatic. Same thing with BTVI. Once accepted in BTVI, full-time, automatic free tuition, once you accept it. Let me also speak very quickly to scholarships. As you know, and I announced in the House of Assembly, there's been a 1-year moratorium of all external scholarships. But next year, we hope that we will restart or resume the scholarship provision. That portal opens on the 1st of December. So persons who are interested in going abroad and seek government support are welcome to make the application on one ground. That is, those scholarships will only be awarded for those areas in this country that are of desperate need. So it matters not that the child may or not be, the student may or may not be qualified. What is the need of the country at this time? And as I'm sure many of us would know, we desperately need healthcare workers. We desperately need people in technology, of a desperate nature. Certainly people in finance of a desperate nature. So I just wanted to be clear about that.
Thank you for that answer. We have 2 other hands. I will ask Rotarian Ellsworth to ask his question. You can unmute your mic, please. Okay.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much. Just a brief comment to thank Minister Lloyd for a comprehensive presentation and for leading the way in digitization, and to say that very shortly we will have immigration fully digitized, cashless, and you should be able to sit in your homes, upload all of your applications, and not have to worry about documents going missing anymore. Thank you. God bless you all.
Sergeant, that's a $5 fine for advertising.
Thank you very much. I'll be happy to pay that fine for Minister Johnson because that is such a critical part of the government's delivery of services in the Bahamas. I want to just answer a question, Madam President, with regard to the scholarships again. And I indicated earlier about there being a moratorium on external scholarships. That does not affect, and I want to emphasize it, does not affect those students who are presently on scholarship or tuition assistance. Does not affect. A student who is on government support right now continues to receive government support according to the contract with the government. So those students, for instance, in UE who are medical students, does not affect. Let me also speak to this issue with regard to medical students. The new policy implemented 2 years ago is that if you are interested in going to the University of the West Indies and seek government support for medicine, you must first be approved by the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Education is simply a processing facility. We do not determine who receives that scholarship. It is the Ministry of Health who does. So, student coming out of wherever applies to the Ministry of Education for a scholarship. We refer that student to the Ministry of Health, who must satisfy the ministry's medical council that they are a suitable candidate for the government to invest in for the next X number of years at whatever fee that is. So please pass that word around. There must be the Ministry of Health endorsement in writing to the Ministry of Education. We do not get into the process of the application. All of that application goes to the Ministry of Health. They determine whether the student can make it through medical school, so on and so forth. Because I can tell you, my dear beloved Bahamians, we have had some disastrous cases of students with grades 2.1 grade point average, 2.3 grade point average, going to medical school, obviously not equipped academically to make it through medical school, having to repeat 4 or 5 different years, and of course staying there for 8, 9, 10 years, all at the expense of the government. We can't afford that, okay? We need to have students who can do the program and do it in the way that it was designed and finish in the time frame that is usual for most students. That's why the necessity of going through the medical council and being approved by them first before we consider any support by the government.
And I think our final question will be from AG Carlo. Please unmute your mic.
Thank you, Secretary Donna. Good morning, Minister. Thank you for answering many questions that persons have in relation to education. I have a question. I'm not sure. You mentioned students being on lunch vouchers, and we know that school is really, the physical environment has really been a haven for many students, especially underprivileged students, students who don't have supervision, students who need food. Is there going to be anything in place? Can there be anything in place for students who would normally need sustenance at school? Is there any accommodation being made with social services to get food to the students while they're on this virtual learning platform? I don't know how it will be done, but has any consideration been given to that?
Fellow Rotarians, that brilliance is I am the beneficiary of that brilliance in my law school program. All of the law that I know today is at the feet of that beautiful lady right there, Mrs. Carla Stubbs. Absolutely, ma'am. Yes, we will continue to provide sustenance for those students. What we did during the COVID recent lockdown, we provided them with vouchers to be redeemed at a number of food stores like SuperValu. We are going to continue that. What we did in that time, we provided the vouchers for a 2-week period. This time, the consideration is to give the vouchers for a 1-month period, which would enable them to get, a good quantity of stuff. Also, we are in communication with the Ministry of Social Services to expand that the places of redemption, because most people are able in this environment to go to that food store within their neighborhood, and most prefer to do that rather than to go to a big food store where you got to have the social distance, stand online outside and all of that stuff. So we're working with the ministry so that people, like, for instance, in Baintown, to go to a food store, and then too, what it does is it spreads the money around. Instead of just the 5 or 6 major food stores, it spreads the money around and the people can get it. And they usually can find even better deals in that community food store or neighborhood food store than they say ordinarily would be able to find in the bigger food stores. So that's a very good question. Yes, they will continue to receive. And again, I invite you to assist us by saying to whomever that if you are deprived, if you are in a circumstance that, is challenging, go and speak to the Department of Social Services and be vetted, because we want to make sure that every student, especially the most vulnerable, especially those on the family island, who do not have internet capability, do not have a device, or not able to feed themselves properly, please let us know, because we want to make sure that you are ready to learn. We can't afford to leave any child behind. We simply, as a country, cannot afford to leave a single child behind.
Thank you, Minister Lloyd. And now, before I invite Rotarian Patrick to bring the vote of thanks, I would just like to say that this morning we will be presenting 4 brand new iPads to Principal Vassal at Village Patton Primary Preschool.
Beautiful.
And Village Patton is near and dear to our hearts.
Yes, ma'am.
That is a school that our clubs read, our Rotarians read to each and every Friday while the students are at school. So they are near and dear to us.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Congratulations, and thank you very much on behalf of the principal, administration, staff of Willard Patton. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. You're welcome. And now we'll invite Rotarian Patrick to bring the vote of thanks to the minister, please.
Good morning. Minister, we would just like to say thank you for such an awesome presentation. The passion that you seem to bring to the Ministry of Education, we know can only be an asset, and we do appreciate you. We realize that your job is not an easy one, and we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to present to us this morning. And you can tell from the questions that we were very attentive, and your presentation has been well received. We just want to say thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, my friend. All the best to you as well.
Thank you, Minister Lloyd.
Well, all the best to you all. I really look forward to that breakfast this morning and, facilitating a nice engagement with all of your friends. But sometimes soon when COVID behaves itself and allows us to do what we need to do. All the best, everybody, and God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now it's time for the raffle, guys. Are you ready?
And now we'll ask.
I'm sorry. Are you ready for the raffle, Madam President?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Secretary Donna, the raffle, please.
Okay, so have you all bought your tickets? If you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. The raffle is a $50 voucher, Amazon gift card, and that goes to Natalie. Congratulations, Shara. You won yourself a $50 Amazon gift card.
Yes.
Wow, I'm excited.
Back to you, Madam President.
We now ask Rotarian Tanisha to bring the forward test, please.
Good morning, everyone. Of the things things they are due, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Does it build goodwill and
better friendships?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Okay, just one final thing, President, just to let everybody know that Treasurer Magnol is working on your invoices for your raffles and fines, and we should hear from her shortly. Blackout is saying good morning to everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Secretary Donnet, for that update. And now the final toast, please.
Who's that?
Morning, everyone. Raise your teacup, your coffee mugs only. Rotary around the world.
Rotary
Around the world.
Around the world.
Rotary
Have a great
around
day.
the world. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day and stay safe.
Yes. Thank you. Bye all.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.
Good morning, Sharon. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, apparently.